What I think libertarians get wrong, as a libertarian. July 27th, 2024. I'm a strong believer in the idea that if you do not allow yourself to criticise your own ideas, then you allow yourself to become part of an echo chamber. In the spirit of this belief, I have decided to detail my own understanding of what I believe libertarians get wrong, as myself a libertarian. Libertarianism bases its roots on limitation of state power and maximisation of liberty, i.e. freedom, which in and of itself is correct and a desirable end goal, but some short-sightedness, as well as in some cases ignorance, allows some libertarians to become blind to the fact that it is not only liberty that separates a man from the state, but it is also his many bonds that the man forms outside of the government that maximises his liberty. They place liberty as the sole value in society and disregard other important factors. For instance, some libertarians believe that any form of domestic protection in the form of a military is an excessive use of state power and believe that this should solely be owned by the private sector. However, this belief fails to recognise that in order for a nation to be a nation, some form of military must exist to defend the sovereignty and rights of that nation and its constitution, and in turn the rights of its citizens from foreign aggression. Or how some libertarians believe that sensible controls on immigration are harmful and racist uses of state power. This argument negates the rights of the indigenous populations of those nations, and the government frequently practices forcible immigration from foreign nations on its citizens in exchange for cheap labour and a supposed higher GDP. Some more left-leaning libertarians negate the rights of family units by giving more freedom to younger children, which places them at risk and leads to violations of that child's rights. For instance, the belief that children should be able to transition their gender. In the pursuit of liberty and freedom, libertarians must recognise a plethora of things, like for instance, the fact that it is also things like family, nation, religion, the church, voluntary organisations, and patriotism, and a certain level of protectionism in communities that separates individuals from the government and state control, not just solely the reduction of state control, which obviously is desirable, but must be done with these fundamental truths in mind. Otherwise, libertarians run the risk of becoming the parody of the child, arguing why it's a violation of his natural rights to go to bed or go to school. We need to bring people into our arguments for a reduction of state power by arguing for these things in a sensible and measured way, rather than just maximisation of liberty at all costs. Otherwise we come across as the Marxist who says, "You have nothing to lose but your chains," failing to realise that some of those chains are not to the state, but to the duty one has to his communities, nation, kith and kin. I.e., these are not chains holding you down, but keeping you grounded to a particular time and place outside of state control. And if true libertarianism is to be achieved, then these bonds we form outside of the government need to be maximised and championed, rather than derided and viewed as old-fashioned.